Picture Venice. What comes to mind? Gondolas gliding through serene canals, stunning Renaissance architecture, masks, and romance, right? It's the ultimate tourist destination, a city seemingly frozen in time. But what if I told you that beneath this picturesque facade lies the ghost of a forgotten empire? An empire that once dominated the seas, held kings for ransom, and controlled the flow of wealth between East and West. This isn't just a city of lovers, it's the story of the Republic of Venice, a maritime superpower that ruled the Mediterranean for 1,000 years. And today, we're going to uncover how this city, built on mud and water, rose to become the master of the seas, and why its incredible story has been largely forgotten. So, how did a city built in a swampy lagoon even begin? Our story starts in the 5th century with the collapse of the Western Roman Empire. As barbarian hordes swept across Italy, people from the mainland fled to the scattered marshy islands of the Venetian lagoon. It was a desperate move. These islands were inhospitable, difficult to build on, and offered little in terms of resources. But they had one crucial advantage. They were a natural fortress. The shallow waters and confusing network of channels made them nearly impossible to attack by land or by sea. Safety was their first currency. From these humble and muddy beginnings, the Venetians didn't look inward. They looked outward, to the sea. They couldn't farm, so they had to trade. They became masters of the water, their backyard. Their early ships were simple, but their skills were unmatched. They started by harvesting salt from the sea, a precious commodity in the medieval world, and trading it with their neighbors on the mainland for grain and other necessities. This was the seed of their commercial empire. They weren't warriors or conquerors. In the traditional sense, they were merchants, dealmakers, and sailors first and foremost. Their motto could have been, "In trade we trust." The real turning point for Venice came with the Crusades. While European kings and knights were motivated by faith and glory, the Venetians saw a golden business opportunity. The Fourth Crusade in 1204 is the most famous or infamous example. The Crusaders contracted Venice to provide a fleet to transport them to Egypt. But when they couldn't pay the full price, the cunning Doge of Venice, Enrico Dandolo, who was over 90 years old and blind, proposed a deal. He suggested the Crusaders help Venice capture the rival Christian port of Zara first. After that, through a series of complex political maneuvers, he diverted the entire crusade to Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire and the richest city in the Christian world. The result was the shocking sack of Constantinople. The Crusaders ransacked the city, and Venice took the lion's share of the loot. They didn't just take gold and jewels, they took strategic territories, islands, and ports across the Aegean and Mediterranean. They famously brought back the 4 magnificent bronze horses that still adorn St. Mark's Basilica today. This single event transformed Venice overnight from a major trading power into a true maritime empire, a string of coastal fortresses and trading posts that they called the Stato de Mar, or the State of the Sea. They now controlled the key trade routes to the east. With this empire, Venice became the gateway between Europe and Asia. Spices like pepper and cloves, silks from China, precious gems, and exotic goods all flowed through Venetian ports before reaching the markets of London, Paris, and beyond. The Rialto market in Venice was the Wall Street of its day. The city's wealth became legendary. This immense profit funded the incredible art and architecture we still marvel at. The Doge's Palace, the soaring bell tower, the grand palazzos along the Grand Canal were built on the profits of pepper and silk. Venice invented many modern financial systems, like double-entry bookkeeping and early forms of banking and insurance. To manage this incredible flow of capital, they were innovators, not just at sea, but in finance. Of course, such dominance didn't go unchallenged. Venice's main rival was the Republic of Genoa, another powerful Italian maritime city. For over a century, the two republics fought a series of brutal wars for control of the Mediterranean. It was a clash of titans, with epic naval battles deciding the fate of trade routes. Ultimately, in the late 14th century, Venice emerged victorious, cementing its position as the undisputed queen of the seas. Their navy, the Venetian arsenal, was the largest and most efficient industrial complex in Europe. It could produce a fully equipped warship in a single day, an assembly line centuries before Henry Ford. This naval might was the backbone of their commercial power. So, if Venice was so powerful, why do we call it a forgotten empire? What led to its decline? The end didn't come from a single battle, but from a slow, unstoppable shift in the world's geography and politics. In 1453, Constantinople fell to the Ottoman Empire, a rising power that began to chip away at Venice's eastern territories. This made trade more difficult and dangerous, but the fatal blow came from an unexpected direction. In 1498, the Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama sailed around Africa and reached India, opening a direct sea route to the Spice Islands. Suddenly, Venice was no longer the middleman. Spices could now bypass the Mediterranean and Venetian customs officials entirely. The economic foundation of their empire began to crumble. Wealth and power shifted from the Mediterranean to the Atlantic, to nations like Portugal, Spain, and later, England and the Netherlands. Venice tried to adapt, focusing on manufacturing and banking, but it could never reclaim its former glory. The world had literally sailed past them. The final nail in the coffin came in 1797, after 1,000 years of proud independence. The Republic of Venice, the Serenissima, surrendered without a fight to Napoleon Bonaparte. The great maritime empire ended not with a bang, but with a whimper. The City of Lions became a pawn in the games of larger European powers, eventually being absorbed into the newly unified Italy in the 19th century, and so the empire was forgotten. Its history was overshadowed by the romantic image of a beautiful, decaying city. We visit Venice today and see the palaces, the art, and the canals, but we often miss the story they tell. We see a tourist stream, not the headquarters of a global corporation backed by the world's most powerful navy. Every stone in Venice is a testament to a time when its merchants held the world's economy in their hands, and its sailors charted the known world. The next time you see a picture of Venice, or if you're lucky enough to walk its streets, look beyond the gondolas. Imagine the great galleys loaded with silk and spice. Listen for the echoes of merchants haggling in a dozen languages at the Rialto, and see the shadow of the Lion of St. Mark, the symbol of an empire built on water, courage, and commerce.